researches with at the local and international level. So here in the words of Adriana, you can read if you want. So before Eco por Nosotros was founded, there was Animana, which is a company founded by Adriana, and we do produce clothes that are only used through or made by circular natural fibers. We do production of durable garments, traceable and transparent production, direct engagement with base of the value chain. And through that, Eco por Nosotros was founded. We did trainings until now for over 8,500 artisans, SMEs in the Andean and Patagonian regions. We worked with more than 50 academic institutions. We did researches and advocacy at local, national, and international level for inclusive circular model. So Animana is basically the proof that it can work very well, combining local artisans, their ancient techniques with sustainability. And not only that, but this kind of techniques, we have to protect and preserve them. And they are naturally from nature more sustainable than what we have in today's modern industry that are mostly more cruel, let's say that way. And our aim is to bridge the gap between institutional and grassroots knowledge, coalesce different knowledge system and confluence of ideas, mediate global issues and local effect on and response, develop and demonstrate alternate visions for development, facilitate knowledge and transfer and sharing between knowledge system, drive policy action as a collective. We want to work together towards a regenerative future, and we truly believe in co-creation, in collaboration, and most of all in teamwork. We are not doing this alone. We have we have a huge network of professionals and entities along the grassroots that are helping us to reach these goals. So to enhance the collaborative system, we are trying to shift the locus power, by fostering community as a force of systemic change. We want every single one of us to take this attitude of a custodian, which means of caretakers of the earth and the people who coexist and live with them. We want to co-create a shared future together. We want everyone to take their part and action in this new paradigm. And to achieve this, we are seeking to share the true cost of the production and consummation system we have. So this is our concept in a funnel, where you can see how every stakeholder takes their role into an active system. And we want to co-learn, we want to co-create, and we want to do businesses taking the grassroots into account. And we have been working on traceability and transparency for more than 15 years. And we have proved this by joining the UNICE Sustainability Pledge. And one of the most important projects we have is the Eco por Nosotros Toolkit. A toolkit is a platform that is used to democratize the access to education and technology, which helps us to reach the grassroots and to give them the possibility to contribute in the creative economy. This toolkit is making a positive impact, and it takes a different approach, because when we build this tool and as we are building, we are thinking in co-creation and co-design. We are taking producer, every artisan, every MSE, students and young professional that wants to be a part of it. And we are listening all of their voices to create this tool and to reverse the way we see the world in a more vertical way. This toolkit takes into account that we, with some local communities and aspect of local entrepreneurs and search fund in order to create systemic change for people and the planet. So in Eco por Nosotros and Animana, our ecosystem is really huge, and it's different parts. We count on different professionals with civil societies, with communities, with ancestrals, knowledge with corporation and with MSMEs. And we take all of this, their perspectives and view of points into account. We are trying to reach this sustainable goal together. This 15-year of process and pathway has been really long, and many years have to come. And we invite you all who are joining us today to be a part of it. Here is a picture of locals in Andean regions who are working in, you can see, in nature in a more sustainable way. And here are our contact information, maybe when you want to make a screenshot. And now my fellow colleague, Asta, will talk about our work in India. Thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot, Rukan. I will now like to talk about the project that Hecho Nostros had with Conserve India. And I'll just share my screen. Yeah, so I welcome our panelists and talking about our work in the New Delhi region. So the project backdrop is we know that New Delhi is known for its infamous landfills and the huge amount of uh, uh, disposed plastics and everything. So the facts say that we generate around 1,100 tons of plastic every day, out of which only 870 tons get recycled. And given that we have 22%, which ends up clogging our drains and going to the Yamuna, and that is one of the main reasons for the recent flooding in the New Delhi region. So apart from that, we also are aware of the fact that India is estimated to have around more than 4 million rag pickers. And given rag picking it's a means of livelihood for many of the impoverished and tolerant societies, sections of societies in India. This capacity building program aims to create a scalable business model to help rag pickers gain identity and feel inclusive by using circular economy models and make conscious efforts to conserve our environment. So about Conserve India, so their main forte is plastic waste management, textile waste management, and we are glad to have Akshat with us, who will speak about their work in Conserve India in detail in the next section. But the project helps with 6 of the main SDGs. The first one being no poverty, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, 12, responsible consumption and production, 13, climate action, and 17, partnership for goals. So with these objectives, our members of our Hecho Nostros and Conserve India, they went to these communities and help upskill the workers with these machines, which are used to recycle the plastic cutouts and make them into usable materials and such as bookmarks. So the community visits were very insightful for the team, and they've recognized and they've learned that across borders, members even within developing nations, people have different rhythms and different lifestyles of how they conduct their day-to-day activities and daily necessities. So it such conscious efforts and small recognition of the kind of work they're doing for us in recycling as that's very helpful for us, and it brings a community together like we have today to create a sustainable and holistic developed future for all of us. So with this, I would like to start our panel discussion, and with our first speaker being Anshu Gupta, who's the founder of Kunj India and Swabhiman Gram Swabhiman. And as we've heard his introduction by Radhika, for myself, I can say that his words were very soul touching, and my perspective towards dignity, charity, and donation, such terms, they have been changed. So I thank him for the kind of words that he has, his perspective that he's shared with all of us, and I now invite him to share more more of his experience so that we can learn from him.
You. Thank you. Thank you. I think I'll keep it very short because I had a chance to speak about it. Just a couple of things. One, as I said, that the whole idea is to use to take care of the material poverty with a very important lens of dignity. So we do collect huge amount of a household material from the people, individuals, then a lot of corporates, retail chains, unsold inventories, short expiry material, oversized material, season change material. So large. So the whole idea is that if you have two trucks of say floor tiles, and within 2 years you're not able to sell it, or the design is changed, or it's a little bit of faded or chipped, that means it is of no use for you. But maybe hundreds of rural school toilets or urban school toilets can be changed, just by using that. And that is where the labor and the wisdom will also come from the community. So, and it goes through very rigorous process of converting into various kits. And if I give you a simple thing, we are now almost about 1,600 people full time in parts of 27 states of India. This is our 25th year. If I just pick up the data of last 8 years out of 24 years, I think it's almost about 45 million kgs of such material, which is not just turned into certain products, but is used as a currency for development. So even in the pandemic time, we were able to make or repair almost about 700 kilometers of village roads by using this model, where people were not paid in cash. Okay, the money was not transferred, but the second-hand goods, the material became a currency for people. I mean, people were rewarded in kind, cloth, utensil, footwear, all kind of stuff. So we are just extending the life cycle of everything. We are just looking for the optimum utilization, and it is like the genesis of an additional economy. I will not call it a parallel economy, but an additional economy, which is taking care of a lot of other development works also. I mean, if you don't have money in rural India, in slum India, or in the other parts of the world to take care of certain things, people can do it on their own, and then they can be rewarded in kind. That's number one. Second thing is that we just tried to touch upon a lot of ignored issues. So like one thing which I didn't touch upon there, one of the very acute issue in a country like India and many other countries is the menstruation, right? So what we realize that how women are forced to use sand, ash, jute bags, rugs, rags, newspaper, grass, cow dung, anything and everything in the, I mean anything which can stop or absorb as a sanitary pad or a sanitary towel, right? Um, in those 5-6 days. So I mean, dignity you can't even think about. But the most important part is that because of these infections, exactly at the childbearing age, menstruation age, your uterus is removed. And imagine a piece of cloth can become such a sustained 100% environment friendly first solution for this. And then people can graduate, from there. Whosoever can buy whatever can do that. So in nutshell, it's a huge community building exercise. It's an exercise where people are taking ownership. It's an exercise where we are opposing the word donor and beneficiaries, because in our case, we call everyone a stakeholder. I mean, I have been speaking on forums and challenging this thought that if I give time, I am a donor. If the community gives time, how come they are beneficiaries? If I put in my skill, I am a giver or donor. If the community is putting a skill, how come they are beneficiaries? How can we have these double standards, in our life and then talk about equality? So we are taking everyone as a stakeholder, that you bring whatever you have. So if you have labor, I have materials, someone has money for the logistics of it, someone has a skill. That's how the good work happens. So a piece of cotton cloth, you know, any women ladies suit, as we say in India, can become maybe 10, 15, 20 sanitary pads. And then these are reusable, these are the cheapest possible things. So we make almost about 100 such products, not for the fashion market. We don't want to compete with the Fab Indias of the world, right? The whole idea is that can this also be used as a utility material for the larger part of our population across the globe, instead of just making something and selling it somewhere else, because so many other institutions are doing that work much better than us. I mean, we don't have those expertise. Our focus is people at the base, and the important part is we are just listening, we are learning. We call rural parts our universities. We understand their resilience, we understand their creativity, we understand their power, to work. So it's just a recognition of whatever is already available, doing nothing new, to be honest. Thank you very much. I'll stop here, Asta.
Thank you so much, Anshu. You've also maintained the time that the allotted time that we had, and also shared so much of your work with us. Thanks a lot. I now welcome Gautam, and Gautam, he's the founder of Jaggery, Reimagining Waste, and which focuses on creating circular jobs for underserved communities by creatively working on reimagining waste. And he's also a TEDx speaker and an SDG accelerator. So I welcome Gautam. Gautam, you're on mute right now. You're not audible.
Oh, sorry about that. Hi, thank you, Asta. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present our work to a global audience. And thank you, Adriana, Radhika, and Paula. Before I begin, I must tell you all that, I was at Goonj office today. It was just a happy accident. And we got to see firsthand the different modes of operations and modalities that Anshu's team has kind of created over the last 30 years. It was really awe-inspiring. And we were four of us, Bhavna, my co-founder, and two design interns. And we just, all the way back from Sarita Vihar to Gurgaon, we just kept discussing the different things that they're doing, and how ahead of its time this whole idea was when he must have started this in, I think, 1999. And so, thank you for having us, Anshu. It was a pleasure. And so I'm Gautam. I'm the founder of Jaggery Reimagining Waste. It's a women-led organization. A majority of our owners are women. But I play the role of, trying to promote the topic of waste to value and participate in global discussions like this. For some reason, women tend to be a little more conservative, in this aspect, at least insofar as our team makeup is concerned. So with a background in sustainable architecture from Pune University and integrated Masters in Fine Arts and User Experience Design and Non-Fiction Film from the Department of Media Study at SUNY Buffalo, I consider myself more of a social innovator than an architect, or, I don't necessarily like these tags. So with the self-imposed logic of being a social innovator, I am an advocate for circular design and social equity. I'm really passionate about the intersection of climate action and social impact. And while I lead the organization's efforts in regenerative production, utilizing waste as a valuable resource, and creative remanufacturing as a powerful tool, I also, beyond the production process, actively engage with civil society, corporates, NGOs to conduct events, workshops, seminars, and offer thought leadership to inspire sustainable practices, green policies, and drive positive change in our society. With a strong commitment to the SDGs, I collaborate with various, or at least the intention is to try and collaborate with various global entities to advance circularity in India, including some of the organizations that Asta had mentioned, TED, Acumen Academy. Catalyst 2030 is actually a really formative organization behind bringing all of us together, and others to amplify impact and contribute to a more equitable and sustainable world. So Jaggery was established in November 2015 with the goal of advancing circularity in India through women-led regenerative production, essentially starting off in Gurgaon, which is where we are headquartered, looking closely at the intersection of the automotive shredder residue and sustainability and how sustainability is kind of propagated in fashion. So you must be wondering why this interest in the automobile industry. Well, let me tell you a few data points. Globally, 72 million vehicles were sold in the year 2022. Given India's rapid economic growth, a growing demand for both passenger and freight mobility is expected to continuously increase. As a result, dependence on imported fuel, fossil fuels, and correspondingly the related emissions from these vehicles are increasing every day. We've already noticed how the cities are becoming next to unlivable. Delhi has already become a gas chamber. So the percentage share of emissions from the transport sector in carbon emissions is likely to increase from 13.5 in 2021 to 19% by 2050. This makes transport sector the third most carbon emitting sector after fashion and crude oil. So some other data points, I'll maybe just bore you a little more. Between 2009 and 2019, the number of registered cars in India has grown annually at 10%, with a total of 304.8 million vehicles which were registered in India in 2022. And given the average age of 10 to 15 years, depending on the usage condition of the cars, it was estimated that 8.7 million end-of-life vehicles will be present by 2025. And this number is expected to increase to 2.18 million by 2030. There is a direct relationship between the vehicular retail sales and the end-of-life generation. And if you were to extrapolate the trend of 2.8 million end-of-life vehicles, which are projected to be added every year, a staggering number of 46.8 million ELVs will be ready by the year 2030. And guess what this means? This means that a monumental load of 187.2 million car seat belts will end up in the landfills of India alone. So with this, equipped with this staggering and really horrifying information, we started looking at the things that we could do in India to try and mitigate climate change from a automotive shredder residue, and see what we could do with the waste that is generated if interesting products could be made out of those. And what is it that we utilize as manufacturing in our manufacturing capacity? So before we get to that, let me just quickly tell you that everything that I just said revolves around the 5 pillars of our values. Without our values, we can't kind of come to arriving at a sense of, doing tangible work in any direction. So at Jaggery, our core values serve as the foundation of everything we do. They guide our actions and decisions, shaping our approach towards a sustainable future. These pillars are sustainability, empowerment, innovation, collaboration, and social responsibility. So these shape our vision, actions, and the impact that we are able to make. With each pillar, we forge a path towards towards environmental stewardship, community empowerment, continuous improvement, collective action, and ethical accountability. Together, these values serve as a guiding light, inspiring us to create positive change and build a more sustainable and inclusive world. And from this is where we arrive at what you're seeing on your screen right now. Essentially, from the social responsibility pillar, we are able to understand that the solutions that we provide have to be women-led, and they have to be coming from the global south. And from that perspective, we have managed to set up a small number of units in and around Gurgaon and Badshapur, with the women being the sole drivers of the entire process. So women are allocated as hero waste collectors. Women go ahead and participate with other waste collecting communities in and around the centers that we identify where cars are dismantled in India. One of those areas is in the Delhi NCR area in the north. It's called Mayapuri. And especially in the Khajan Basti area, we are able to employ quite a number of people who help us generate waste, who help us collect the automotive shredder residue, which includes foam, glass, rubber, and the car seat belts. So once these are collected,
I'm interrupting Gautam, but you have to keep it short.
okay,
It's
so
very
how much more time do I have?
just a couple of minutes. That's it. We are
Sure.
very limited time. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Well, let me just take you through that. So women entrepreneurs, like I mentioned, form the core of our workforce. About 90% of our workforce is women. The masters and the master craftsmen tend to be male. So these are the ones who make the master patterns. And we have a hub and spoke model. So in and around Delhi NCR, and we are now also piloting in Pakur district in Jharkhand, where we send our patterns, and the women-led entrepreneurial centers help generate these products. I'll quickly take you through the framework that we've set up. We launched a framework called Backtivism this year, which uses waste as a resource, creates circular jobs for women in different communities in and around the waste collection centers in India. And then we come up with eco-modern goods that are promoted both in India and internationally. And just to give you an idea of how we are using latest technology to create interest in the young users who we've identified as our target audience, given that 50% of India's age, the citizens are under the age of 35, we actively utilize AI tools. So this image that you're seeing is visualized through AI, a tool called Mid Journey, and through a programming idea called prompt engineering. So in order for AI to help you, you have to come up with the right prompts for it to be able to deliver. You have to take actual pictures of your products, and then AI is able to superimpose those on the prompts that you give. So these are images, but these are the image that you're seeing is an actual product. So this is made out of quilting seatbelts together. And with every product that we bring to life, only 0.75 liters of water usage has been documented. And more than 4 cars on an average, for this bag, seatbelts from 4 cars were used in order to create this. We also combine this with Army Canvas, but that is a separate value chain. For the sake of this presentation, we are just focusing on the car seatbelt value chain. Then I had mentioned the events and thought leadership. We've been fortunate enough to share our story globally. Here are some collaborations that we've done with fine art photographers, literally taking waste and putting it on the pedestal of the ivory tower of the museum. So looking at it very, like an art object. So the red product that you're seeing is made out of car seat belts and cargo belts, set against the backdrop of urban decay. Then some other modalities are collaborations with Catalyst 2030. This is something that has helped us enable an impact measurement guide that we are launching through the Catalyst Market Resource Hub, where everybody can download it and use it as a stepwise guide in order to see how they're able to make impact, because not every organization has been equipped with the ability to understand how to set the KPIs, the metrics, and how to translate that to various stakeholders. And one important slide is crafts revival. So here what you're seeing is a dying art craft of Zardozi. And so we've combined that with car seat belts to create a unique art form to help the struggling artisans in Lucknow find a way to meet, create more livelihoods opportunities for them. And just a few other slides, we are working on CSR projects with automobile industry leaders in India. And what you're seeing here is a museum dedicated to end of life of Mercedes. Here is a theme park that has been suggested in historic areas in India. And this is done through, a comprehensive workshopping environment. And, we are also, because of the sustainable architecture background, we are trying to create construction materials out of waste, and also especially out of recycled oil change filters and air filters. And I think this last slide, upcycling of car seat covers into products that can then be pitched to conscious consumers across the globe. And the objectives are to advance circularity, waste reduction, environmental stewardship, social impact, co-creation, which is what a lot of the panelists and speakers have also been espousing, and eventually to be able to address the SDGs. I'm not left with enough time for my impact and the SDGs that we are able to address, but I'll leave that for another time. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's back to you, Asta.
Yeah, thank you, Gautam. I now like to invite Akshit Sharma, a member of Conserve India, which focuses on women empowerment, social upliftment via fair trade and circular economy. Akshit Sharma, he has a background in sales and marketing across industries, and I invite him to share his insights on best practices and innovation, digital innovation in Conserve India.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Asta. I'll just introduce myself quickly. So I have completed a master's in public policy from St. Xavier's College, Bombay last year, and it's been close to six months that I've been involved in circularity, and 3 months since I joined Conserve India. And today I'm here on behalf of Anita. I'll be presenting for Conserve India. So can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Akshit, please be mindful of the time limit you have.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Conserve India has been pioneering in the field of circular economy for textiles and plastic waste management. Conserve India was founded back in 1998. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so we started back in 1998, and after 7 to 8 years of work, we drove towards circularity, and then in circularity we started doing our R&D in plastics and textiles, and around 2008 we patented a leather-like material made out of single plastic. Our work has been awarded by Niti Aayog, FICCI, and we intend to help people in training and upskilling themselves and managing textile and plastic waste. So our objectives are very clear: environmental conservation and empowering underprivileged sections of society. Our core values revolve around circular economy, environmental conservation, fair trade, women empowerment, and our work can be defined broadly into 4 domains. That is sustainable development, sustainable opportunities, waste resource value, and training individuals. So we've executed over 50 plus projects and different collaborations focusing around plastic recycling, CO2 reduction, upskilling workers, and creating employment opportunities. 2 of our recent projects are with the Utrecht University, that is Netherlands, and Municipal Council Baramulla. So with Utrecht University, we have prepared a research study focusing on India, Spain, and Netherlands about assessing the social impact of circular economy in parallel value chain. And with Municipal Council Baramulla, we have done a textile waste management project where we've collected waste and we've recycled it and upcycled it and given an opportunity to people over there to explore recycled products. And Indian Army's unit has helped us by providing their shelf to us for the display of products. So Conserve India and Hecho for Nostros, we recently got. I'm just so sorry. Yeah, so we recently did a research project together adopting circularity, which also undertook challenges, motivations, opportunities for artisan community in Delhi and India. And it was focused around waste pickers, craftsmen, students, and through co-creation, we have helped fashion industry become more sustainable and inclusive by giving our input and contribution in terms of whatever little we could do. And Conserve India's contribution was focused around training modules, networking, and product innovation. Then we broadly used two frameworks, that is their step analysis and SWOT analysis. And then moving on, we supervised those students and interns from Insha Honors College to prepare 7 training modules for different plastic processes. And with that note, I'd like to conclude. Thank you so much. And I'd also like to add that we were told that it was a very specific presentation about just a slide about Conserve and what we've done with the HXN. So yeah, there's not much about Conserve because that's what we were told about.
Yeah, Akshat, no issues. I think we've got the idea of what kind of work Conserve India has been up to, and you can please post any kind of links that you want to share with the audience in the chat box, so that whosoever wants to know more about Conserve or any further details you want to share, it's available for all the participants here. I now welcome Pashim Tiwari, Technical Director at the All India Institute of Local Self-Government. He specializes in urbanization, smart cities, public-private partnership, and I invite him to share his experiences on how he's leveraged best practices across his work experience.
Thank you, Asta. Thank you, everyone. I know it's very late, so I'm going to be very, very brief. Can I share a presentation? I hope it's visible.
Yes.
So, briefly, I think we would be one of the oldest organization over here. We started in 1926, and we have been doing work on getting governments to, govern better over a period of time since a long, long time. We work across India and across Southeast Asia, basically to large extent. And we work across all the 3 levels of governance structure. So Niti Ayogs and the central ministries, the state governments, and finally at the city level and the rural level also now. And we work across all the sectors which are there. So water, waste, housing, urban livelihoods, urban plannings, disaster resilience, training and capacity building, and climate resilience. We are working on over, maybe about 300 projects at this point of time across India. And internationally, we are also working in South-South cooperation, North-South cooperation, and triangular cooperation projects in climate resilience with Indonesia and other areas. This particular project which we are talking about is basically which is directly women entrepreneurship related. So in Jharkhand, we are creating about 5,000 women entrepreneurs which are related to the social entrepreneurship, social product entrepreneurships. And we are doing almost every aspect of the value chain. So we are this is basically promoting tribal women to become entrepreneurs, one. So we provide training to them, we provide certification to them, we connect them to market platforms, we create policy dialogue with the government through creation of groups. So we have created a group of 20 CSOs which is directly talking to the government into changing policy level issues. we have done a stakeholder network, which is also something new for Jharkhand in particular. And we are doing this, the numbers are humongous. This is a 5-year project. 3.5 years of it is already gone. Almost 30,000 women would indirectly or directly be affected by this project in the tribal areas of 10 districts of Jharkhand. We are creating almost 10 entrepreneurial support centers and 15 products of the local communities is being targeted in this, where specialized training programs, which are in collaboration with IITs, RUTAGs, and other institutions which are providing technology for that, is being provided to them. Their technology upliftment is taking place. Most of these training programs are then being put into a digital platform also for them to access. Even a job portal is being created where women can exchange jobs within the support groups also. Yeah, so approximately 15 such categories of products are there which we are doing. There are some photographs of what we are doing. But one more thing which I would like to add on to this is there is another great movement which is taking place and which we are part of, is the water entrepreneurial movement. In India, there is a transformation taking at the ground, which is basically creation of about 250,000 water utilities across the rural India. Now, we are one of the largest partners with the government of India in that, which is the Jal Jeevan Mission, where now we have convinced and the government is putting pressure to put every one of these utilities to have at least 50% of their support staff as women. And this is something which they are giving as a policy statement, and that I think would be a transformational activity which would take place over the period of time in India in the next 2 to 3 years, where the water utilities of a village will be managed and operated by at least 50% of the staff, which is women. And that I think is something which we should really support and which we should commend government of doing. We are creating training programs for them in making themselves available and redress and support these utilities. I think that's about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pashim. It was lovely to see so many projects come up. That too from, I think, almost a 97-year-old organization, and still doing a lot for the future. So with this, we conclude our panel discussion, and I'm happy that we've had such amazing and interesting a mix of people, be it an old organization like 97 years old organization, or the ones like where Gautam talks about combining automobiles and fashion for sustainable living, which is, I think, I've never heard of. I even could not have dreamt about it. Or be it Conserve India with their work in Jammu, and even having army display their artifacts, and also especially Mr. Anju Gupta and the kind of work he's done, the value system he holds. I think most of the youth influencers should get in touch with you to spread more word about the kind of work you're doing. With this, I invite Rukan to give the final conclusive quote for our panel discussion.
So thank you again. It was very inspiring, and especially, how many of you support women, which I didn't know, having in your organization. This is just really great to see, especially like in a country like India. And yeah, thank you. So we were thinking about the last quote that we want to share in the lab after. And we came to the conclusion that across the cultures and distances, people share their problems, but also many potentials. And through global collaborations, we can achieve boundless and amazing possibilities.